Today I'm going to show you how to access and use the databases that are available at the RCBC library. From the RCBC homepage, click on the Students link at the top center of the page. Scroll down if necessary to find the library link. It's a yellow bar on the right side of the page. That takes you to the library homepage. If you'll scroll down and look on the left side of the page, you'll see a small link that says Databases A through Z. Click on that. Again, scroll down if necessary and find the database called Academic Search Premier. This is where you will actually do most of your searching for primary and secondary articles. Now, if you are not on campus, which you probably aren't, you will see this screen. If you haven't gotten your 14-digit library barcode, you'll need to contact the library to get that in order to access the databases from home. If you have your 14-digit library barcode, you can enter it here and enter your 4-digit PIN, which is typically, I think, the last 4 digits of your phone number. But again, if you have any problems with this, please check with the library. Once you enter that, you'll get to this screen that looks like this. It'll say EBSCO host over here on the left, and then toward the top, you'll see the little link that says Choose Databases. So when you click that link, then what you can do is actually choose any or all of these databases. The Academic Search Premier is the one, like I said, that we'll use the most often. If you think that any of these databases will be helpful to your particular topic, click the little icon at the end of each for a description of that database. If you're working through this at home while you're watching the video, go ahead and give this a try. Check out a couple of the databases that look interesting to you. And if you think they would have information about your particular topic, then go ahead and click the button, the little box next to those databases, and click OK. The green file is one that might be helpful. The master file elite is another one that might be helpful. Now, you can look at different types of resources, depending on if you're trying to find a primary, secondary, or tertiary article. Under publication type, and again, scroll down if you need to, you can select periodical and newspaper if you're trying to find tertiary sources. But don't click those, don't highlight those two items if you're trying to find primary or secondary sources. You can also limit your results here on the left to full-text articles and scholarly peer-reviewed journals. This is again useful for primary and secondary sources. In the selective field area at the top right, if you open that up, you should see TI for title. And so if you wanted to search by the title, if you knew the title of an article you were looking for, you could search by title. Or you could search by the actual journal name. If you knew the article was in the journal cell, but you weren't sure what the title of it was, then you could search by that. You can also search by the author's name, those types of things. Now, when would you know what the title of an article is? Well, let's say you had another article and you looked at the reference list in that article and you saw another one that looked interesting. Well, you would have the whole information, and so what you would want to see is if the library databases had a copy of that article. Now, you don't have to do any of that, but that can help make your search more specific. You can just enter a search term. So let's say we're going to enter the search term dogs. Well, that's pretty broad. And so what we can do is we can use the second and third boxes down here and use the AND to narrow our search. So if we put dogs here and cancer detection there, then the system will look for articles that have both of those phrases in there. And of course, then we hit search. Now it's going to give you a list of articles. And so you're going to be able to view your results. And so if we look at this first article that comes up, Canine Olfaction and Electronic Nose Detection of Volatile Organic Compounds in the Detection of Cancer, a review. Now, if you watched the previous video, you know that this review means it's a secondary article. We see here that it's in an academic journal. And if we look down at the bottom, we see that the full text is either in HTML, the website, or in the PDF. I prefer the PDF text, full text, because that shows it exactly the way it was actually in the print journal. Now you can click on the article title itself to see more information. So here's, again, the article title, and you notice that here's the source. It gives you the actual journal, Cancer Investigation. It tells you it's a journal article. It gives you the subject terms, so if you put any of these terms up here in the subject, in the select field box, search box, you could have found that article. Also, some other keywords. Now, what if we're not familiar with this journal, Cancer Investigation? So let's click that journal name and see what we can find out about that journal. All right, so here's the information about the journal, Cancer Investigation. Tells who the publisher is, where it was published. This is a journal out of the United Kingdom. It says it's an academic journal, and if you look at the bottom here, it says, yes, it is peer-reviewed. So it's an academic journal, peer-reviewed. Those are clues that this is a reliable source. If we click back up at the top, that'll take us back to the actual article. And if we want to read the article itself, then over here on the left, you can click either the HTML full text or the PDF full text. And again, I prefer the PDF full text. All right, so let's look at this article. First thing we want to look at is the abstract. Read through the abstract, and let's see if we can determine if it is a primary or secondary or tertiary article. Now, we know it's not tertiary because it's in an academic journal. So let's go ahead and see if we can figure out what this is. Olfactory cancer shows promise as an affordable, precise, non-invasive way to screen for cancer. This review focuses, there's our first clue, this review. So that means that this is most likely, 99.9% of the time, this is going to be a secondary article. Now this one happens to be kind of unusual, and then it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 authors. But just from that word review, that's an indication, of course, also the word review is in the title, that's an indication that this is a secondary article. These authors did not do the research, but they've compiled research from lots of other researchers. Now, one of the other things you want to do when you're looking at articles that you're going to use is you want to see if the authors of the articles have any biases or conflicts of interest. So you can look first at where they work. And so here these authors work in the Department of Neuroscience at Skidmore College in Saratoga Springs, New York. Now that doesn't mean they don't have any biases, but they are not working for a company that's trying to maybe promote something. You can also look at this toward the end at something called the Declaration of Interest. And so the authors report no conflicts of interest. They're not being funded by anyone that's maybe wants their research to come out a certain way. If it was an article on the dangers of tobacco use and it was funded by one of the tobacco companies, you might think that there could possibly be some bias in there. Other useful library databases, and again, these are mainly for tertiary sources. So in addition to Academic Search Premier, there are some encyclopedias. NBC Learn used to be on there. It's not available anymore. Canopy has videos, Scientific American, ProQuest. So you can check all of these out and see if they can be helpful to you. All right, so what you should do now, again, this is one of those assignments, practice assignments. It's not for any points, but it will help you get started on the second Walk Through the Literature assignment. So see if you can use the library database and find at least one primary, one secondary, one tertiary source related to your Walk Through the Literature topic. We'll discuss in an upcoming video, the proper way to format the bibliography. But at least you could start compiling the sources, even if you don't know exactly how to format them. Again, if you have any questions, please see me during my virtual office hours or email me, and I will be glad to help. Have a great day.